Department of Homeland Security rolling out plans today for President Trump's agenda to crack down on illegal immigration and implement aggressive enforcement of existing immigration laws. DHS Secretary Kelly's orders today include 10,000 additional ICE agents, 5,000 more Border Patrol agents, and a moratorium on President Obama's catch-and-release policy at the border. The order also allocates funding for victims of crimes at the hands of illegal immigrants and ends funding for groups advocating on the behalf of those here illegally. Reporters grilled the White House press secretary on whether this is the blueprint for mass deportation.
The message from this White House and from the DHS is that those people who are in this country and pose a threat to our public safety or have committed a crime will be the first to go, and we will be aggressively making sure that that occurs. That is what the priority is.
Joining me now, Deroy Murdock, Mark Serrano, and Steven Camarota. Mark, let me start with you. Essentially, what we're seeing is that the Trump administration is saying we're going to enforce the laws, and yet it's coming across as so controversial.
Charles, let's put this into its proper context. What these orders, and if you look at them carefully, what these orders actually disprove is the notion that this administration is sending jackbooted thugs across the country to round up illegal criminal aliens and rip families apart. It's just not true. These orders do something very underwhelming. It's that they enforce existing law, which is something very novel over the past 8 years. It's very, very simple. They're going to focus first on criminal illegal aliens and root them right out of our communities and kick them back across the border. There is tremendous support across this country for that move. So it's a very underwhelming move. It's simply applying the existing law, Charles.
You know, Stephen, I'm looking at, some of the articles today, and some folks have a problem with the guidelines focusing on people who abuse public benefits, folks driving without a license, and things like that. Do you see anything wrong with these? I mean, again, we're talking about breaking the law when you came into the country uninvited, and then compounding it with additional things, no matter what they are.
Yeah, basically, under the Obama administration, they basically announced that illegal immigrants didn't have to worry at all about deportation unless they were in a very narrowly focused group of violent criminals. What this basically says is all illegal immigrants are subject to deportation, though we will be focusing on the most violent, except for one group, that is those who came as children. So basically what this says is the immigration law is back in business. Things have been so laxed for so long. Remember, we have nearly 1 million people who've been ordered deported by an immigration judge already who never left. We never followed up on it. And that's sort of one of the places they're going to start first. You know,
according to the Migration Policy Institute, which, by the way, is a left-leaning organization, there are 1.9 million deportable immigrants with criminal records, Deroy. So there's a lot of work to be done.
Well, there is. Remember, these people are not being taken from jail across the border. These people are out running loose on the streets. And so these people, many of them are in this catch-and-release situation where they catch them doing a crime. They say, all right, come back in 90 days. They don't come back. So these people are running around, and who knows what they're doing, who knows what they might do next. So this is a matter of basic public safety. I don't think there's anything crazy or extreme or obnoxious about this. This is about getting people off the streets and out of this country who are, A, here illegally, and B, have done things to harm Americans and may do further harm in the future. We want to stop that before it happens.
Of course, Sean Spicer today, Mark, took great pains to say, listen, it's pretty obvious we're going to focus on the hard criminal element. There are obviously a lot of them, perhaps as much as 2 million, according to Left-Leaning Institute. But, you know, there's always the question of, hey, what about the housekeeper, you know, who came here illegally? And some would argue, hey, this person probably had to forge some working papers, may have had to get someone's Social Security number, may be driving without a license. There are other things that can snare people in this net as well. Are you okay with the idea that perhaps they have to go as well?
It's not going to happen, Charles. I mean, all of that is just political posturing by the far left. They're trying to pinpoint these modest little cases where someone might have gotten caught up. It's a complete mischaracterization of the justice that's being employed right now. Look, Donald Trump cares about the Kate Steinleys of America. If these orders had been put in place 2 years ago by Barack Obama, would Kate Steinle still be alive today? I think she would, which is why we also have to take these orders to the sanctuary cities. That's where Jeff Sessions has got to come in and deal with these states and these cities that are creating sanctuary for criminal, illegal aliens. People who should be rounded up, have no place in this country, and are going to harm the next Kate Steinle. That's what we're trying to avoid, Charles. So I'm not too concerned about people who get caught up, because that's not the direction of these orders. These orders clearly place a priority on those who have been charged or convicted of serious violent crimes.
Right. And, you know, Stephen, unfortunately, there's almost a daily example of a Kate Steinle situation, one just occurring in Denver where an illegal immigrant with a criminal record was allowed to go free and may have killed someone, certainly was apprehended for murder. There's a Harris poll out that says there's 80% of people support the idea that these these sanctuary cities should be handing over these illegal immigrants who are arrested for crimes. So, Stephen, is this now setting up the ultimate showdown, the one that we know is going to happen sooner or later, and the one where the federal government's going to have to go into these major cities and enforce law?
Yeah, let's remind your listeners, basically what happens is an illegal immigrant gets arrested by a local authority, is in the jail. The immigration authorities are notified. They look at the person's records, fingerprints, and say, hey, this is someone previously deported. Hey, this is someone here illegally. They just ask that local city or county to hold the person for 2 days at most, a day usually, and the actual jurisdiction policy is no. 17,000 times that's happened recently where they said, no, we're not going to hold them, and a lot of those individuals, perhaps half, had gone on then to commit another crime. So what we're going to see probably is a real confrontation with these cities that are defying the law, they're encouraging illegal immigration, and I hope the administration gets tough with them. It's certainly politically popular, and it just makes so much sense.